Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, May 15th. This week has been all about Abby's quest to stop Ashley from marrying Tucker. Now, rather than being an adult and communicating her concerns like an adult, Abby goes on a bender, okay? She's throwing back margaritas at Glowworm like they are glasses of water. She is drinking out of paper bags. She is drinking every time we turn around. She is on a complete and total bender. She is out of control, okay? She's dancing on the bar at Glowworm. She's practically making out with a stranger after successfully ruining her relationship with Daniel, which didn't even need to happen. And worst of all, she's doing all of this right in front of Ashley, okay? There's this scene where she's been dancing on the bar at Glowworm. Tucker and Ashley are there also, having a nice dinner, trying to talk about their wedding, which is happening, loving on each other, while Abby is literally doing a little, a clothed striptease on the bar at Glowworm. It is humiliating. And Ashley comes over to Abby with Tucker and tries to stop her from making a total fool out of herself yet again. But Abby just starts spouting off like a broken record about how Tucker is the most horrible person in the world and Ashley's making the biggest mistake of her life in marrying him. And finally, Tucker stepped in and he told Abby off, and I was like, hooray! Finally! He has put up with her crap for so long, and finally he just let her have it. And I know that I'm gonna be in the minority opinion here, so, but I don't buy Abby's theory that Tucker is such a bad guy. I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't like Tucker, but I like Tucker and this is how I feel, so I'm gonna go for it. This is gonna be my opinion. I know it's not gonna be popular, but here it is. I promised to always be honest with you guys, and here it is. This is what I think. The one thing that Tucker did wrong by Ashley was sleeping with Diane, okay? That was a bad, terrible move. I was very upset with him at the time when he did it. I'm very upset with him now, but it's not like it was an affair. It's not like he had multiple sexcapades with Diane. It was a momentary lapse in judgment that I think he realized immediately and realized himself that it was despicable. I think he hates himself for doing that. It was early in his relationship with Ashley. They were serious, yes. They were involved, yes. I'm not trying to sweep that under the rug, but it was fairly early in the relationship. And other than that, since that occasion, Tucker has always been there for Ashley. He's always treated her well. He helped her through the whole Adam thing. He was there for her in a way that nobody else was, and in a way that she totally needed when faith was taken away from her. And he's always been there to listen to her and to help her and to treat her as an equal, to work with her side by side at Jabot, not treat her like a thing, like a prized possession the way Victor did. Not treat her less than. He's never treated her less than, ever. Not once. And I would beg you to argue that Tucker has ever treated Ashley in a disrespectful way, other than sleeping with Diane. Okay, so we all know that Tucker is a shrewd businessman, okay? We can't deny that. And I didn't like the way that he manipulated his way into Katherine's company, into Chancellor. I wasn't happy with that. I didn't like him when he first came on the show, but I also feel like that was about business, and it was about kind of proving something to the mother who abandoned him. Clearly, Tucker has all of these feelings toward Katherine because she abandoned him, and he grew up without a mother. He grew up without a family. But I ask you, again, what does this have to do with Ashley? Because if we're just talking about personal, he's done nothing to her. If we're talking about business, Tucker is no different than Victor or Jack. No different whatsoever. Number one, they don't call Victor ruthless for nothing. Victor has done way more questionable business dealings. Too many to even seriously count. And Jack, ew, some kind of thing. It was a string. It scared me, but I will not let that deter me, whatever it is. Jack used Colleen to get back at Victor, and it ended up getting her killed. Jack used Abby to sue Victor. He's the one that put that whole chain of events into motion with the lawsuit. And then Jack bought her stock options and turned around and tried to sell them to Tucker. As if that's not questionable. But all of that being said, Victor and Jack, I both love them. I love them both. I genuinely do. But we forgive them. We forgive Victor and Jack for their shady business dealings. Why not Tucker? How is Tucker any different? I just don't see what qualifies Tucker as some horrible, skeevy human being. I'm sorry, I don't. And maybe I'm alone in that. I have a feeling I'm going to be alone in that. But my opinion is, I think that Abby just does not like Tucker because he doesn't kiss her ass the way everybody else does. He doesn't play her little games the way everybody else does. And for crying out loud, Tucker tried to be nice to her. He's tried to be nice to her on many occasions, nicer than I would be. He bought her a freaking pony. For crying out loud. And she loved him then. He was great then. I think that Abby is a spoiled brat. And I think that she needs to butt out of her mother's life. I think that she needs to just take a step back and give her mother a chance at the happiness that she deserves. Ashley deserves this happiness, and I understand that she's being protective of her mother. I would be protective of my mother if I thought that she was marrying someone who was manipulative, but Abby is not seeing the forest for the trees, and not to mention she's just going about it all the wrong way. I mean, if she has concerns about Tucker, she should be expressing them like an adult, but she's not doing that. Jack had reservations about the wedding. Tracy had reservations about the wedding. But did they berate Ashley and belittle Ashley in public over it? No. No. They would not do that to her. And if Tucker turns around and screws Ashley over, then I will eat my words, you guys. I will eat them up. But until then, I think that Tucker is a fine guy, and I think that Ashley and Tucker are a great couple, and I support them 100%. It was, as usual, a joy. A complete joy to see Beth Maitland back on the show this week as Tracy. She has new hair. I love the length. It's much shorter. I don't love the color so much. It's her usual blonde, but then they put in these really bold and chunky streaks of strawberry blonde, kind of. It's a little too strawberry. It's a little too reddish. Maybe I'm just used to seeing Tracy with her kind of platinum-y blonde, but yeah, overall I think it's a very positive change. I do love Tracy, and I was hoping that she would be able to float into town with her usual wise wisdom and convince Abby to straighten up and fly right. But Tracy, she can only do so much. Abby is like set on this destructive path, and no one is gonna stop her. No one is gonna get in her way. She's gonna do what she's gonna do. And Tucker and Ashley have this, they've set up this beautiful wedding in the park. Okay, they have lights on all of the trees in this little setting. They have the chairs set up. They have these sheer white curtains thrown over things, and they have this beautiful water fountain that's trickling in the background. It was so beautiful, so serene, so fitting, and so wonderful. And what does Abby do? While everyone else in the Abbott house is celebrating with some champagne, toasting, the happy couple's gonna be getting married, and they're supporting Ashley, Abby goes to the park and destroys the wedding setup. I mean, she is knocking over chairs, she's knocking over huge trellises. It was actually kind of hilarious, to be honest with you, because as she's like yanking down the sheer curtains and just destroying her mother's wedding setup, she's in the background singing do 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 do. And it's like slow and drunken and creepy, and then her drunk ass stumbles and falls into the fountain, completely soaks herself, classic soap style, falls into the freaking fountain. It was beautiful. I needed to see that. After all of her brattery, I needed to see her fall into the fountain. And of course, she also passed out right beside the scene of her little drunken tantrum, and a cop finds her lying there the next day, completely hungover, and clearly the culprit of this crime. So he arrests her for like the 6th time. I wish somebody could do a count and tell us exactly how many times that Abby has been arrested since she came back into town. I would love to know. If anybody happens to know that number and keeping track, I would just love to know. It has to be at least 6. Of course, this time it's like for vandalism. And in her defense though, who sets up a wedding in a public park 2 nights before the wedding? It was kind of ridiculous. They set it up real early, but Abby is hauled down to the police station to get booked. Jack gets the call. Jack always gets the calls first. He's got inside information on the inside people on the police force. So Jack gets a call. Victor gets a call. And Ashley has the unfortunate experience of heading down to the park to take a look at her beautiful wedding setup and sees that it has been destroyed. I mean, completely decimated, and she calls the cops immediately like, my wedding scene has been vandalized, and the cop's like, oh yeah, we got the culprit. It's your daughter. Your ungrateful daughter. So, Ashley rushes down to the police station. I mean, at this point, this is her last straw. She walks straight into the police station, walks right behind the counter to where Abby is standing, and smacks her. I mean, she smacked her too. It was not a little smack. Ashley brought her whole arm back and went whap with all of her strength and just smacked her bratty little daughter right in her face. I needed it, but it was heartbreaking for Ashley. I mean, what on earth is Ashley supposed to do? You tell me, what is she supposed to do? Not marry Tucker because Abby doesn't like him? Not hardly. I mean, Ashley, she's been so patient with Abby, and Ashley let Abby get away with all of those stupid freaking naked heiress stunts that she pulled time after time. And Ashley could have threatened her. She could have been way more aggressive, and she never was. That's not what you do. You have to let people make their own mistakes. That's the only way to do it. It's the only thing you can do. You don't go destroying their life or destroying their wedding day or whatever. That only makes you look like a jerk, and it doesn't change anything. And this is clearly a lesson that Abby has yet to learn. But if it were up to Victor and Ashley, Abby would have just sat there and rot in jail for the next couple of days. They were perfectly happy to just let her sit there. But Tucker is the one who bailed her out. Tucker wants to bail her out despite everything, which is very, very ironic considering what comes next. While Tucker is busy getting Abby off of the hook for this newest charge against her, Abby sees Tucker's cell phone lying on the counter. And Abby happens to read an incoming text message from Diane, Genoa City's biggest slut. Oh, that felt good to say. Genoa City's biggest slut. Now, Diane and Tucker had a conversation earlier in the week at the coffee house, and they kind of made amends. They just sort of happened to run into each other, and Tucker stopped her and said, hey, I feel really bad about what happened between us. Not only the fact that we slept together, but then I fired you after it. I mean, come on, that was not very good. And Tucker did feel bad about it, and he tells Diane that he wants to make up for it. So later, Diane sends him this text, and she wants to take him up on the offer. And that's basically what she says is, I may take you up on that offer. She realizes things are falling apart with Victor. She probably could use another job. So she texts Tucker and says she'll take him up on his offer, which Abby reads. She's not supposed to be on Tucker's phone, butting into his personal business too. Reads this text and misreads it as being something sexual. She knows that something happened between Tucker and Diane, and she's right. She's right. Something did happen between them. Okay? But she has just been on this case for so long. She reads this text message, and that's what sets her over the edge. Abby decides to text Diane back from Tucker's phone and arrange this false rendezvous at the Abbott cabin. So she tells, from Tucker's phone, she texts Diane, let's meet up at the cabin and discuss it. And it has a sexual overture to it. So Diane never misses an opportunity to get into bed with somebody. She's got new lingerie that she needs to try out. So she prepares to rush up to the cabin. She wants to have this rendezvous with Tucker. Now, at this point, I have to be honest with you, I'm pissed. I'm real pissed that this is all happening because Abby straight up set him up. Okay, whether or not the thing with Tucker and Diane ever happened, Abby is now setting him up. And 2 wrongs don't make a right, last time I checked. And she just has this, it's just arrogance about her that if she doesn't have proof that Tucker and Diane slept together, that Tucker did something wrong, then she's gonna create the proof. So Abby starts singing this song and dance about how sorry she is, and she's gonna now behave, and she's gonna try to support Ashley's decisions, and so Tucker gets her out of jail. So now it's time for Ashley and Tucker's rehearsal dinner. All of their family is gonna be gathered together for this rehearsal dinner before the next day, which is the wedding. So Abby puts on her pink party dress and she plasters on her fake smile and she goes to this rehearsal dinner. And everybody's having a good time. It was really relaxed. After all of the tension that has been surrounding this engagement, this wedding, everything is, it's starting to come together and it's starting to look really good. And everyone's having a great time. And Sophia and Malcolm are there, and Sophia announces to the group that she's pregnant. And she and Tucker have these, just a series of really great moments. First of all, I think it's awesome that Tucker chose Sophia to be his best man. Best woman. So Sophia's standing up for him. She opens up that she's pregnant. She tells everybody, including Billy and Victoria, who are kind of like, cringe, I don't want to think about babies right now. But, you know, Sophia opens up about that, and she and Tucker just start to have these, you know, really great talks, you know. I mean, Sophia is saying, you know, about how much she misses her dad, and in place of her dad not being there, she's kind of looking to Tucker to maybe take on a grandfatherly role with her new child. And Tucker starts to open up about how much he really loves Ashley and how this is his first marriage. You know, he's never done this before. He's going against everything that he's about. I mean, Tucker, I get the impression that, yeah, Tucker has been a ladies' man in his time, but now he's ready to settle down. He's finally found the woman that he wants to spend the rest of his life with, and he wants to do it right. So he tells this to Sophia, you know, he doesn't want to mess things up with Ashley, and Tracy actually overhears it. And this really changes, you know, the way that she thinks about Tucker. Tracy was starting to have reservations about him, but she overhears this and she realizes that Tucker really cares for her sister. And I have to be honest with you, I also really think that Tucker genuinely wants to be a part of the Abbott family. He made a speech with the Abbotts earlier in the week while Abby was trashing the freaking wedding location. But I mean, he talks about how he's never really had a family of his own, and I think he really is looking forward to being a part of this. And he reached out to Jack this week and said, you know, I don't have a brother, and you know, I'm looking forward to this. And like, the Abbotts are a really great family to want to come into. I mean, the Abbotts have always had, more than any of the other families on the show, I think, a really great sense of camaraderie amongst them. I mean, they are bonded together, and that's something that's completely new to Tucker. He's never had that. He sees this as like a whole new phase in his life, and he wants it to work out. He wants everything to work out. But again, while everyone else is celebrating, Abby sneaks into Malcolm's coat, pulls out his cell phone, and sends a text message to Tucker, who has his phone off, by the way, and tells him that they should have a bachelor party. It's Tucker's last night as a single guy. They should have a bachelorette or a bachelor party. And where should it be? The Abbott cabin? So now, This is what's happening. Abby has set up the situation where Diane and Tucker are gonna unwittingly meet at the Abbott cabin. And Diane has a sex on the brain, and Tucker is just completely clueless. And now the final piece, the final thing that Abby needs to do is make sure that Ashley sees it. In order for this little plan of hers to work, Ashley has to walk in on it. So, after Tucker turns his phone back on, and he gets the fake text message from Malcolm, he tells Ashley, you know what, maybe I will go out and join the guys for one more night out. But because he actually turns out to be kind of traditional, he doesn't want to sleep with Ashley the night before the wedding. He doesn't want to see her until they walk down the aisle the next day. So Tucker's like, you know what, Malcolm offered to have a bachelor party. I'm going to go do that. Tucker leaves, headed to the Abbott cabin. Now, Abby decides to tell Ashley that she deserves a night out too. A girl's night out, her bachelorette party. And this, my friends, is where it gets really disgusting. Abby, with her fake smile, starts telling Ashley that they're gonna have a girls' night out. It's gonna be popcorn and movies, and they're gonna have the mommy-daughter time that Ashley has been wanting for so long. For a moment, Ashley is so happy. All is right in her world. Her daughter wants to spend time with her. Finally, everyone has come to accept this decision that she's made in her life. And this woman has been through so much. Ashley has been through so much. And all she has wanted this entire time was for Abby and everybody else to respect her decisions and to support her decisions. So, Ashley gets into the car with Abby under the false pretense that they're going to Abby's house for a fun girly movie night. But this isn't the way to Abby's house, and Abby's driving kind of erratically. Well, guess what? Abby is drunk again, bad drunk. Ashley finds a bottle of vodka like wedged underneath the driver's seat, and it's empty. Vodka's some hard stuff. A bottle of vodka for a little girl like that? And the whole thing, all this niceness, all this fakeness, Abby's little plan, it all starts to unravel. Abby is smashed. And she's driving this car. She's speeding in this car, trying to get to the Abbott cabin. And I don't even know what must be going through Abby's mind at this point, because she starts just humiliatingly telling Ashley that, yeah, she's drunk, but she knows that Diane and Tucker are at the cabin together, and if Ashley can just see this, then she'll realize that Tucker is a slime ball, and then everything's gonna be all right, and Abby's gonna be vindicated, and everything's just gonna be fine. Well, not for Tucker. It's not gonna be fine for Tucker. Tucker got to the cabin on his own, and he realized that no one's there. So he starts to drive back, pulls off to the side of the road because he can't get any cell phone connection. So he's outside of his car, roaming around, trying to get reception for his cell phone, to call Malcolm to find out where the party is. Why am I here and nobody else is here? Abby and Ashley are in the car. Abby is speeding and practically almost falling asleep and slurring, and Ashley is like grabbing at the wheel, just trying to get control of the car and screaming at Abby to just pull over, just pull over. And then everything is just building and building and so tense. And finally, Abby's headlights just shine. And you just see Tucker's face. And then Abby's foot slam on the brake. And then bam! Impact. I think Abby just ran over Tucker, y'all. She just ran over Tucker. I don't even know what to say. It's not funny. But yet it is. But it's not. I mean, the preview for Monday's show. Ashley is apparent. She's alive. She's moving. Abby is bleeding onto the deployed airbag of her car. And nothing about Tucker. And nothing about Diane either. I mean, I don't know if Abby's frame-up is actually going to still work. And somehow Ashley will think that Tucker was meeting Diane still. Or if the fact that Abby was drunk driving and accidentally ran over Ashley's fiance will just overshadow the whole thing. Either way, Abby is in some big trouble. Big trouble. This is going to have to be a turning point for her character, I tell you, because this is a real game changer. This is serious business. I mean, not only is Abby going to be facing serious charges, more serious charges than all of her Naked Era stunts combined, but I mean, not only that, she is kind of developing a real drinking problem here. I mean, this is what she's doing to deal with her problems, and it's really unhealthy. It's a really unhealthy path to be headed down. She's going to have to buddy up with Nikki, I think. Maybe start attending some AA meetings. I don't know, but Marcy Rylan has been so amazing. She's done a beyond amazing job with this whole thing. Just this whole unfolding around Abby. I really like her. And she had to actually do a mad promo at the end of Friday's show, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because drunk driving is serious. Alcoholism is serious. And, I mean, fun, pretty girls like Abby make drinking look really sexy and really interesting, but the moral here is that it isn't. You know, I hope nobody is fooled, even though I know they continue to be. Liquor is a vile, vile substance. Don't be fooled, y'all. Because whether this story is real or not, whether it's TV or not, this is exactly the kind of ridiculous scheme that someone under the influence would work up in their head and think is a great idea. It's true. Alcohol, it affects your judgment, and it can affect your whole life. I mean, a drunk driving incident like that, I mean, she could have killed Tucker. I mean, I'm sure she didn't, but that's serious. So I guess, here's a little PSA from your friend, your Y&R friend, Allie. Drinking is not cool, okay? It is not interesting, and it is not cute. Well, since I get the feeling that nobody else likes Tucker but me, I feel like I have to stick up for him. I guess I have to stick up for the underdog. Tucker and Katherine went a couple of rounds this week. Tucker apparently went over Katherine's head, and he's planning to buy all of those Newman shares with Chancellor money, and then he's gonna buy them from Chancellor with his own money and give Chancellor a profit. He's going to pay so that, you know, so that Chancellor makes a profit off of the whole deal, and he gets the Newman shares. And Katherine does not like it. She's told him before she does not want him pursuing this Newman Enterprises thing, and he's going to do it anyway. And Katherine vowed to stop him, and Tucker called her old and out of it, which I don't like. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the way that Tucker talks to Katherine, you know, she's my girl, but it's no different than all of the things that Jill has said to her. Jill has said way worse things to Katherine, called her way worse things. Again, we forgive her, but suddenly with Tucker, it's not okay. I don't get it. Plus, Katherine can dish it out as good as she can take it. I mean, as much as I love Katherine, and you know I love Katherine, she's no angel either, okay? None of these people are. None of these people are angels. Plus, Tucker has a right to make decisions at Chancellor. He's the head of the company, and he's making a profit for her out of this whole thing. And the only reason that Katherine doesn't like it is because of her friendship with Victor. It's got nothing to do with business. Katherine has a friendship with Victor, and she doesn't want Tucker to butt in on Victor's company. Now, all of that being said, I want Katherine and Victor to win. I don't want Tucker to get those shares of Newman Enterprises. I don't want him to get significant control of a company that isn't his. But if he does, I also don't think that it makes him a bad person. As usual, Murphy and I agree. Murph had to set Katherine down this week and have a talk with her, and he said, you know, listen, Katherine, I know you're upset with Tucker, but this feud has to stop. Okay, he's your son, and you need to be the bigger, better person here. And you always think that you're gonna have more time to make up with someone later, but sometimes you don't. And Murphy should know. Murphy lost his son, and he has a lot of regret associated with that. So Murph, they are such a good couple, Murphy and Katherine. Murph talks Katherine into rushing over to Glowworm, where Tucker and Ashley are having their reception, which Katherine decided not to attend, so that, you know, mother and son could have this heart-to-heart. But everybody's already gone. They get to Glowworm too late. Everybody's already left, and Katherine has missed her chance. It may be too late. It may be real too late. Because next week we may be scraping pieces of Tucker off of the front of Abby's car. Diane is the biggest whore. Am I wrong on this? If there was a TV show called The Biggest Whore, Diane would win it. She would be the reigning champion. I mean, she's got to be the biggest whore on the show, right? I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. She has slept with everyone, and she hasn't even been here that long. Last week, she showed up naked at Jack's house, had sex with him, and this week, she goes back to Jack and tries desperately to, like, cling on to him and to try to have sex with him again. Just like, it's like she just wants somebody to validate her. It's the same old story. I've said it a million times. And she thinks that by having sex with these men, that makes her validated, that means that she's good, you know? And now that things with Nick didn't work out, and the situation with Victor isn't going as planned, I'll say, the situation with Victor really is not going as planned for Diane. So, Nikki and Victor have been getting closer and closer over the past couple of weeks. And it culminated this week, first with a kiss, and then Victor took Nikki upstairs and had sex with her in the bed that he shares with Diane. I mean, wow. On the one hand, I'm thinking, Nikki is the only woman that Victor can sleep with and not make me feel nauseous. Just seeing them kind of in this sex scene and smooching on each other, it's like I'm kind of going, ew, ah, you know, I mean, it's the only acceptable acceptable. Nikki and Victor are the only acceptable partners for one another. But on the other hand, I'm also thinking, how bold, just how bold that Victor thinks that he can just take Nikki upstairs and do her in the bed that he shares with Diane is so arrogant of him. And it was just a really stupid move. Just a really stupid move. And he's gonna get what's coming to him next for entering into this sham marriage with Diane, who's shady and who's really showing her colors this week. Diane is showing her ugly side this week. But Victor's gonna get what's coming to him for even dealing with her, because, of course, Diane walks in on Nikki and Victor's love fest. And her first reaction, rather than, I don't know, shouting at them or just even getting upset, Diane's first reaction is to take a picture. Because she decides that she is going to capture this little magic moment on her cell phone to preserve the memory forever and ever. Or to make sure that she has a little piece of ammo to use against Victor when this whole house of cards marriage crumbles. Because that's exactly where it's going. Crumble. You know, Victor and Nikki have been doing this dance for ages, and they ain't resting anytime soon, and Diane knew that when she got into it. While they're still in bed, Victor says to Nikki, he's all like, he always says the right things and then does not do the right things. He's all, you belong here with me, and I'm not ready to get over you. And as soon as Nikki leaves the house, Victor calls Michael and has him put together an annulment. I mean, Victor does not waste any time whatsoever. The next morning, when Diane comes out of wherever she goes at night, I don't even know if they do sleep together. They probably have separate bedrooms. But when Diane comes out, Victor just very plainly says to her, look, you're a very smart woman. You know the score. This marriage isn't working, and it's time to move on. And Diane, of course, is not about to let her meal ticket go without a fight. She's not even gonna go down like that. She's gotten used to the finer things. She was wearing a really great jacket this week. I don't know if any of you guys noticed it, but it was white, and the outer, like the edges of it were like half circles. Like it was a really cool cut. And she looked real sharp in it. I mean, she looks good, but she's just inside is just a horrible crotchety person. So, of course, Victor tells her that he wants this annulment, and Diane immediately starts like backpedaling, like, oh, please reconsider, you know, I want us to talk about this. But Victor is determined. You know, again, more arrogance. He's like, nope, we're getting annulled. I don't even care what you have to say. Nothing to talk about. Goodbye. You're out of my life. Bleh. He realizes that he loves Nikki, I guess, and that's that. I mean, Diane has served her usefulness to Victor. So as soon as he leaves, Diane takes this huge Ming plate, this heavy plate that sits behind the couch at the ranch, and she smashes it onto the ground. And she's just starting, like, her viciousness starts to come out. I mean, like I said, she is really ugly this week. It's all coming out. And she is basically like, I'm not gonna let this happen, you know, and you can just really tell that it's about money. for her. It's just really, ugly is the only word for it. But still, I'm wondering why can't she just be happy? Because I feel like Diane's been looking for a way out. And here's a way out, presented to you on a platter. A, the annulment, B, the photo that you have. I mean, Diane's not happy in this marriage. The annulment actually gives her a settlement that was even better than the prenup that she signed. But no, she said something this week like, I thought it was going to be billions. It very quickly went from, I just want to be able to get by and I can't even pay my bills and I just need some support and I'm doing this for my son, to I wanted billions. Ugh, greed. I mean, come on. Whatever she's getting from Victor is not bad for a few months' work. She's basically a very high-paid whore. And her son has a trust fund out of all of this, which wasn't this marriage supposed to be all about her son in the first place? Wasn't it about making sure that he had the life that he deserved? Plus, if she gets her marriage annulled from Victor and takes her money and runs, it frees her up to pursue Nick, which I'm gonna tell you right now, I do not want Nick and Diane together, and I don't care how they sweeten the deal. I don't care how Y&R makes them cute. I don't care if Y&R gives them lots of cute little spaghetti scenes. It does not matter. I do not want Nick and Diane together after this crap, after her viciousness and money grubbing has come out this week. There's no redeemable qualities for her now. But I still just don't understand why she can't just be happy getting the annulment. It seems like that would solve all of her problems. It gives her the money. It gives her the chance to pursue Nick, which just seems to be the main things that she wants. Nikki, on the other hand, is really struggling with this decision to get back with Victor or not get back with Victor. In her heart, she kind of thinks it's a bad idea, but she also really, really, really loves him. So, I mean, she's really torn, and to top it all off, she's trying so hard to stay sober. And Nikki needs a reason to stay sober. I so want that reason to be Victor. I want her to see that she could have this life and pull herself up out of it. And isn't it time for Nikki to pull herself back together and for Nikki and Victor to just get over these egos, or Victor's ego for crying out loud, and get back together? You know, I mean, dare I hope. Nikki actually had a conversation with Katherine this week, and she expressed all of these feelings to her, and Katherine made a really great observation that I thought was worth noting. She said, if you're interested in getting back together with Victor, forget Diane, because the only triangle here is between Victor, you, and the booze. Because that is really something that's standing in Nikki's way, and, you know, I think that Nikki has a real chance of fighting this, and maybe just these issues with Victor will help give her strength. That's what I'm hoping for. Hey, Nikki's hair is making a real comeback. By the way, she had a couple of weeks of kind of bad 90s hairspray thing going on, but it's made a comeback. Her hair is looking good. Nikki was looking good this week. And Deacon thought so too. Deacon's back with his bad hair, and he's sliming around. Hey, you want to talk about someone who's a real skis-ball, okay? Deacon fits that bill. Deacon fits that bill. Not Tucker. But Nikki wants to be forgiving. Part of her AA program is about giving second chances, and she's really buying into the AA thing, and she's trying to follow her steps, and so she wants to be able to offer Deacon the chance to make amends. so she won't turn her back on him. And Deacon is really taking advantage of that. Really taking advantage of that. If he cared about her, he would just walk away. Because he is the reason that she fell off the wagon in the first place. He is the reason that Victor married Diane instead of Nikki. Ugh. Just everywhere she goes, Deacon is 2 steps behind. She goes to the park, he's standing in the bushes. She goes to the club for a bite to eat. He's there and he asks her to join him for dinner. And Nikki's just trying to be kind. She just, she empathizes with his struggle and she's just trying to be kind. And unfortunately, who should walk in the door during this little dinner meeting between Nikki and Deacon but Victor. And Victor sees them together once again. And Victor goes ballistic once again. And Nikki insists to Victor that she's just there having dinner with a friend. Which I think was a really poor choice of words. Okay, Deacon's not your friend. He's not. I mean, I have to agree with Victor on this one. Don't call him a friend. Call him, anything. A sponsor. Don't call him a friend. At the end of the day, Nikki, you gotta look out for yourself. And I'm sorry, but Deacon ruined her life. She owes him nothing. Nothing. It's just ridiculous. I mean, if she needs to talk to somebody who's in the program, hello, Katherine. Why not lean on Katherine? Why does it have to be Deacon? And now, with this one little mishap, everything with Victor comes undone like that. Nikki tries really hard to get Victor to understand, but Victor is not Victor is just, his ego gets hurt a little bit. It just gets bruised a little bit and he just clams up. I totally identify with that, by the way. I mean, I'm like, if somebody hurts me a little, then I just pull back because I'm like, it's like when you've been hurt before, you're just conditioned to get away. And in Victor's defense, he caught Nikki in bed with Deacon. So seeing her then, opening up to him just when they're starting to reconnect, I'm sorry, but I see his point. I understand where he's coming from. But Victor, he clams up. He rips up the annulment papers, which is ridiculous because his marriage with Diane has nothing to do with his relationship with Nikki. If he's not happy with Diane, just get rid of Diane. It's just totally separate. But Victor rips up these freaking annulment papers and he goes back to shutting Nikki out of his life the way he always does. And I'm just so tired of this. I'm just so tired of this. It's always the same thing. Yet I always talk about it. I continue to care. Why do I even bother? You tell me. What is it? What is it that Nikki and Victor have that just keeps pulling me toward it? I don't understand. I keep getting sucked back into the dance over and over. Their relationship is like, it's like glass. It's so beautiful. But it's so fragile. Why? Why can't Nikki and Victor just listen to each other, trust each other, and just work it out? Well, we haven't heard too much about Lucy this week. She's still, with CPS. Billy and Victoria actually saw her in the park this week with her, with I guess the CPS appointed foster parent that was walking her in the park, and Billy and Victoria were there. Just kind of happened to be there at the same time. In a way, I guess that seems like fate, that they would see her there. Of all of the parks and all of the babies and all of the world, they would run into her there. Victoria and Billy, they're just both so wrecked. I mean, Victoria's hair looks like she just stuck her finger in a light socket. I don't mean to be mean, because I actually really like her hair, and I mean, she has an amazing head of hair. And I like the messy look. I actually really like the messy look, but this week it's just with her being distressed. It's like they're just teasing it, and it's just, she's got a mound of hair. And Billy actually has a broken hand. And here's an interesting little fact. The actor who plays Billy, whose name is Billy, he was doing the scene, which I think was right after that CPS took Lucy. I think it was some scene where Billy was upset about the whole situation with Lucy, and he punches the coffee table. And at the time when I saw that scene, I remember it. I definitely remember it, and I thought that looked real, because his face afterwards was like, ugh, it hurts, you know? And then later, he shows up with a cast on his hand. So the true story is that the actor actually broke his hand and shattered his knuckle during that scene, and it's in the show. I mean, you can see it if you. It was last week, I think, so you can go back and look at it if you want. I heard that I of course went and looked it up, but he worked for the rest of the day with this broken hand, and then went to the hospital and, you know, got his cast. But that's commitment, you know, to the scene, because if you look at his face after he hits the coffee table, it looks like, I didn't mean to do that. That hurt. That was interesting, I thought. So now, in the spirit of me arguing against what I assume is going to be popular opinion, I'm going to say this. I feel like I should want Billy and Victoria to get Lucy and to have her back. Because there's all of these emotions and it's being played up that way. And I have to credit Michelle Stafford here, because I should be so mad at Phyllis for pressuring Daniel, and I have been in the past. For all this time, I've been so annoyed with her for pressuring Daniel and for forcing him into pursuing Lucy. But I think it's Michelle Stafford's performance that's really making me empathize with Phyllis here. Just looking in Phyllis's eyes, I can just see what it's all about for her, and I understand it, you know? Maybe not. Victor gave Michael an ultimatum this week and basically said, look, you can't work for me and try to take my daughter's baby away from her at the same time. So Michael had to tell Phyllis that he cannot represent her in this custody battle with Lucy, and honestly, I think that Michael was kind of relieved to be off the hook. He didn't want to do it anyway, but he was kind of forced into the situation by Phyllis. So he was happy, I think, to be off the hook. And Phyllis is not going to take this as an opportunity to stop. There's no way. Phyllis just hired Leslie and kept on keeping on. She's not stopping. She wants Lucy, and she's not going to stop. And it's pitting her against everyone that she knows and loves. I mean, Nick is upset with her, obviously, about it. Jack is upset with her about it. I'm surprised he can even look at her, to be honest with you. After everything that happened, I'm just surprised he can look at her. And Jack actually let Nick know this week that he knew what happened between Nick and Phyllis in the Caribbean. And it was, and that's the reason why they broke up. It was very subtle, and Jack was very mature about it. Jack has been very mature about that whole thing, but he let Nick know that he knew. But I think I'm just starting to support Phyllis here. And I'm surprised with myself, but I just think that a lot of women in Phyllis's position would be happy to just sweep Daniel's ill-conceived child under the rug and just pretend that it is not happening. But Phyllis is standing up and taking responsibility when maybe that's what Daniel should have been doing. I understand where Daniel's coming from too, and I've really supported Daniel's decision. And I don't know. I feel like though that Phyllis, just strictly speaking on Phyllis, I think that she has wanted the baby from the beginning. It's not about taking her away from Billy and Victoria. It's about family and wanting to take responsibility for her son's child. And I don't know. I feel like Phyllis has been fighting for this baby before Victoria and Billy were ever even in the picture. Phyllis has wanted this child since before Billy adopted her. So I'm starting to empathize, and I'm very surprised with my own reaction. It just raises a really interesting issue too, like what makes a family? You know, is it blood? And Lucy hasn't been with Billy and Victoria for that long to where it would irrevocably mess her up to be taken away from them. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, where are you falling on this whole issue? I don't know. I feel like I'm probably in the minority here, but maybe not. Maybe some of you guys agree with me. I don't know. Let me know. Leave me a comment. Who should have full custody of Lucy? We didn't really see much of Kevin and Chloe this week for as hot on the front burner as it was last week. We really only saw them on Monday, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I am not happy with where I think this is going. We picked up right where we left off at the abandoned daycare center after the weird episode and death of Jana. The police arrive to take away Jana's body, and they immediately start accusing Chloe and Kevin of some kind of plot to kill Jana. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. I was so happy. Not that I didn't like Jana, but I was happy that the whole crazy Jana thing was over with, even if it meant she was dead. I wasn't glad that she died, but especially that whole last week was so weird that I was just glad that it was over. And now I feel like it's just continuing, and I'm not happy about it. For crying out loud, can anybody in this town just die without it being ruled a homicide? Not everything is a homicide. And suddenly, Kevin and Chloe are prime suspects in Jana's murder, and I'm just really mad. I'm really mad because I was really mad when it happened a couple of months ago and we called it Adam and Sharon and Sky. It's the same situation as Adam and Sharon and Sky. Oh, you guys, I'm so mad. I'm so hyped and I'm so mad. I just cannot deal with another court case right now. I just was not expecting it, and I'm not liking it, and I'm just thinking, can you just give us a break with the murder trials, Y&R? Okay, so my very nice YouTube friend named Flash Photo sent me a list of the Daytime Emmy nominations. Yay! Thank you so much. That's really awesome. And I thought maybe we could talk about them on a lighter note. So here we go. The nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. Michelle Stafford as Phyllis. I think Phyllis has had a really good year. I have to say, I feel like she's just growing a lot. I mean, she has done more in the past year than she has in a long time. I feel like as soon as we got her out of the Nick storyline, I know there are a lot of Nick and Phyllis fans, and I think they're hot too, but I feel like as soon as we got her out of that just icky triangle with Nick and Sharon, she really started to kind of come into her own, and I'm really feeling her right now, so I think that's a very good nomination. Now, Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, Christian LeBlanc as Michael. Clearly the winner. I mean, He is golden, if you ask me. Michael is definitely my favorite man on the show. He's my man, and Lauren and Michael are my favorite couple, and Christian LeBlanc blows me away. He's so awesome. He gives it his all every time he is on screen. I love him. He is just beautiful and wonderful. Now, outstanding supporting actress in a drama series. Trisha cast as Nina, which I think is so great because Nina, oh my goodness, how many times have we said it? Hand this woman an Emmy, because she's had a great year with everything in Chance's death and everything after Chance's death. I mean, she has been, I tell you, she's been something else. I really enjoy her, and we haven't seen much of her. We haven't even seen Chance in a while, so maybe we can see a little bit more of her. Outstanding supporting actor in a drama series. There's two, okay? Two nominees. Doug Davidson as Paul and Billy Miller as Billy. So we have to, who would you choose? If you had to choose, which one of those guys was the better supporting actor this year? What would you think? Ooh, I don't know, because my loyalty kind of lies with Doug. But I do think Billy has had a really good year. Billy's had some really great moments. I don't know. You'll have to let me know how you feel about that. And the last one, this is kind of weird. It's outstanding younger actress in a drama series. Emily O'Brien as Jana. Why a younger actress? She's not that young. She's probably my age. And I ain't that young. My gray hairs is coming in. So I thought that's kind of a weird category and that she would be in it. I wonder, does anybody know how young you have to be in that category? I think she's great. I would, honestly, I don't know, kind of would have almost, I don't know, I think Jana's had a weird year. Well, let's give it to Jana. I mean, come on, she's been on the show for a while. She's done a lot of different stuff. She deserves her nod. So yeah, let's give it to Jana. I think that's interesting. So what do you guys think about those nominations? Who do you think should win? Do you think, would there have been someone better for a category? Let me know. I have had a lot to say this week. This is probably going to break the record for the longest Y&R chat. I didn't set out for it to be that long, but I just started ranting and just kept going. I'm sorry if I came off as angry. I realized that I was angry about a lot of things this week, but the Tucker thing really does tick me off. And I wanted to fully explore it, which I feel like I did in depth. So you guys are probably real sick of me, so I'm going to sign off, and I will see you next week. But before I do that, I really want to encourage you to leave me a comment, because leaving a comment for me is what keeps me going. If I don't hear from anyone, it just seems like pointless. I feel like I'm talking to myself. So if you enjoy this Y&R chat, please take the time to leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I want it to be a two-way conversation. I'm an actual person over here, and reading your comments really makes me feel good. So I'll look forward to hopefully reading those this week. Until then, you guys, I love you so much. I really appreciate you watching my videos and giving me lots of support, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad for you. I'm so glad to be able to share my thoughts about the show that I love so much, and I'll be back to share my thoughts next week. Okay, you guys, have an awesome week, and I will see you next time. Bye!